G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a SIG Sauer MPX. Now, we've looked at this weapon before, all the way back in the year of 2018, which is the year where Collingwood got into the grand final and lost. But we're back in 2023 looking at it again, where Collingwood got into the grand final and won. Yay, flag pies. But we're looking at this thing enhanced with an armory project, and if you're unfamiliar with that concept, is basically they just add a whole lot of attachments to an existing weapon mod and then harvest some cool downloads, because it's a little bit of an expansion on this. If you really like the SIG Sauer MPX, then you can have more attachments on it, and there's a lot of appeal there. So yeah, good job to the modders and the original author all around for creating this. Now, this thing has got custom sounds and animations. If you want a proper review showcase of it back, well, it was years ago at this point. I'm sure I've changed quite a bit since that recording, but it's relatively the same thing. But the thing we're going to be doing differently this time is we've got true damage, and we're going to build this thing to be as strong with true damage as possible. So suppressors, scopes, and all the recoil reducing things as much as we possibly can do. So we'll start with the attachments here, and if there's anything new, I'm not really sure. I'm not familiar with this mod enough to tell you which of these attachments are the newer ones, but receivers I think are just the same as usual. So you can put the knee plus ultra thing there. That'll give you a staggering 22 damage, but you know, we've got no real frame of reference to how much damage you actually do for this, so 20 I think is plenty for any true damage sort of setup here. Legendary effect is there, provided by legendary modification. We won't be touching that, although something like wounding might be extremely powerful in this mod. We can extend that barrel out to be a carbine barrel, which is funny because the handguard sort of sits all the way around it. I need to use the keyboard here to actually activate the right attachment here, but the barrel sits there and the handguard is just all around it, sort of a cylindrical sort of surface over, so you don't burn your fingers on it, I suppose. But that's kind of interesting. That'd be a way to reduce the weight of the weapon, I'm thinking. Now we've got barrel options, including barrels that are longer, including a heavy barrel, which gives us 345 range for a weapon that's firing only the 38 special rounds, which is basically 9 mils. It's meant to be like a submachine gun looking thing in real life. You can tell by the magazine there, but yeah, that's a lot of range for such tiny little rounds. In fact, we can go even higher with this Thai NB composite heavy barrel, giving us almost 400, which any 308 firing hunting rifle in this game is not going to get half as much, especially when you put a suppressor on it. So weird, but we'll take it. 396 range is a hell of a lot. And we can throw a muzzle on this thing. We want to keep ourselves nice and hidden through combat, so obviously the suppressor goes on. We don't have ace operator to boost our damage with suppressors, so that's a little bit of a shame, but probably be good for balancing, I suppose. And you can change the sights. Now, there's a couple of sights here that have caught my eye, including the Spectre DR ones, which you can have in black, and also FDE, which is like your sort of tan sort of color, if you want to paint this weapon to be tan, but we'll keep it black. It's tactical, it's stealthy, so we've got a 3.5. No, it's a 1 and a 4 times scope. I suppose it's supposed to be variable, but it's a see-through scope. You can see all around it, but having the ability to fire and hit targets from a little bit further back is very useful, especially when you're only going to get yourself killed if you're going into full combat. Plus, we've got all this range on this thing, so it's an effective sniper despite its smaller caliber. And you can change the position of that sight, including adding risers to it if you feel like it. We'll do that. Why not? It looks comfortable that way, doesn't it? Next up, we've got the stocks. If we go to the skeletonized stocks, this one will give you lighter, exceptional recoil, and no AP penalty. And we've got the VAFS mod, the bullet time sort of VATS mod. So we're going to be utilizing that a lot, and if we got no AP penalty, then that'll be good for sustaining fire for a little bit longer as we go in. We've got a small magazine right now, but if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can have drum magazines with quick eject variants of those for slightly faster reload. 60 rounds is a hell of a lot of shooting for this thing before you have to reload, so that's a lot of sustained fire you can get out of that. And you can throw on a foregrip if you feel like it, or a grip over here on the magazine. We'll go for a vertical foregrip. That's really cool looking. Next up, we can change this thing's caliber from 38, which you've got right now, to 10 mil, and the strongest being 10 millimeter. I would have thought that the 45s would be stronger, but that's a significant damage boost there compared to the 38, so that's very interesting. I'm not really sure why that might be stronger. I thought the 45 calibers were slightly larger than the 10 mils, but what can you do, eh? That may have caught me off guard last time too. Alright, so this one has 90% reducing recoil, so that appears to be the most recoil reducing grip there is, so we'll throw that one on, and we can make this thing fire semi-auto or automatic using this attachment point. The automatic upgrade kit rank 3 gives you close to 900 rounds per minute of firepower, so that's a lot of there's a lot of bullet hosing you can do with that. It'll reduce your range, except it won't. It'll actually increase your range for some reason, despite saying it will reduce your range. It also reduce your AP cost by a little bit as well, which I think is kind of nice. And you can change the paint job. So this is the FDE paint. If you want to make the scope look like that and match, then you can do that. There's also Woodland, Nuka-Cola, that's neat. Stainless steel is also really good, requires a Braxo cleaner to do that. Or blue in Voltec issue. Let's go with the Woodland camera. I think I may have done that one the first time around and using this. And you can change the sounds. You can change it to type B, why not? Alright, so I'm going to make one more of these. They're going to be unsuppressed with a reflex sight just for better usage when I'm in combat in close quarters, rather than this thing having a scope. But I've also noticed there's appears to be no option for a laser sight on this thing, which I thought would be one of the things that they'd want. Although, I'm sure I've seen laser sights attached to this in the weapons thing, so maybe, just maybe, I'm missing something here. Okay, so I've come back and I've installed the second Armory project, which is on the same page but on an update of the original mod for some reason. But we've got rail options now. So top rail, we can throw on some laser sights or perhaps some tactical flashlights. Let's go and throw the PEC on. That looks cool. No, I wanted that one. And you can turn the laser sight on, off, beam, or a dot. Let's go for a beam. No, let's go for a dot. This is supposed to be a stealthy one, I suppose. And you can throw stuff on the right and also on the left rail as well. So you can have a triple laser sight matrix if you want for a supreme hipfire accuracy. But yeah, there you go. That's what I wanted. And I think that's going to be it. So we'll get to shooting people now. Righto, we're outside of the Immersive Gunners Plaza now, and here is our MPX in first person, complete with its laser sight that you'll just see just below the crosshair, and its neat little 3.4 times scope as we shoot some spindly little bastards out the back there. It's a hit scan weapon, so things should be pretty easy to hit with this thing. It's got a little bit of recoil, but again, that rate of fire will definitely help me out when tracking targets, and the zoom in is pretty nice too, so short controlled burst should be able to do this thing pretty well for me, and I don't think the spread is too bad either. The bullets are going to go relatively where my crosshair is, which is great because that means I can just reel in the recoil if I feel like I need to lay on a longer burst, and that'll be just fine for me to use. I've also got this one here with a reflex, so it's a holographic sight, and a couple of laser sights on it. You can see the dots there, and a muzzle brake, which is a particularly effective muzzle brake because even at 900 rounds per minute firing 10mm auto rounds, there's basically zero recoil to speak of. In fact, there might be negative recoil like the Gauss rifle in the vanilla game, so isn't that interesting? But for the most part, we'll be trying to use this one, keep it at an arm's length as we gun the gunners down from a safe spot under the concealment of our suppressor. Also worth mentioning that despite this handguard concealing over the barrel, you'll actually get less range if you use a lesser length version of the handguard. For some reason, the compact handguard just gives you a really odd penalty when it comes to the range of this thing. But the carbine barrel will give you the maximum. It'll give you a range boost no matter what sort of barrel you've got attached to it. Anyways, so as those gunners are sort of sweeping there, we can put on a few bursts, and they're standing sort of still. Those turrets take a little bit more killing than your standard gunners these days, but it looks like with these guys, we can just sort of hit them in the head, get all these sort of cheap shots at them, and that'll be enough to kill them. Who would have thought that being shot in the head might kill you? Definitely not Courier 6, that's for sure. But yeah, a little bit of stray fire has been returned to me. Luckily for me, the plasma is not as hot as you'd think it is. For some reason, all of the energy guns in the true damage mod just aren't very good. Now that might be a little bit of a, I think it might be something of a incompatibility with the mod that I'm using to fix the energy damage output. That might be forcing the game to recalculate it in a way that favors the ballistic weapons a lot more. But man, even these sandbags, we're just destroying them. We're crushing the sandbags. That might be a weird unintended effect of that particular true damage mod. But yeah, so far so good. The combat music hasn't even started yet. And now we can get a little bit more use of VAFs. VAFs. It doesn't roll off the tongue like like VATS does it? We've even got some criticals to utilize if we feel like it, and the frame rate's a little bit lower. I've installed a new version of the EMB because every time I boot up the game it says, hey, a new version is available, and just to test out exactly what this thing can do, I've cranked everything up to the maximum. I'm still getting over 60, but at this stage I'm running games well over 60, so it looks like it's chugging for me. Viewers at home might not even notice because the videos are always recorded in 60 FPS because the file size will get way too high, and by the time YouTube compresses it, well, you're left with very potato-like 120 FPS, which I'm pretty sure the thing doesn't support anyway, but perhaps in time. Anyway, so we get a lot of easy flank shots on these guys whilst they're taking on Mr. Tactical over there. So we'll bring out this version. We'll try to garner ourselves a little bit more attention. But I think, like, the rate of fire on this thing and the recoil control and the ability to throw a scope on it and its just general range, and that was the mouse. Sorry, that wasn't me, but yeah, for some reason the mouse software is messing up again. That's weird because I was playing Fortnite earlier, and usually when these problems come to their worst possible things, it was all quiet. Now I'm playing Fallout 4, and the mouse. It's something to do with the installed hardware, I think. I think there's someone here. That's a Gauss rifle, so we'll just put some suppressing fire over there. It don't have to be totally accurate. When you've got a huge drum magazine with a gigantic capacity, you'll find that it's sort of easy just to accidentally shoot them with a gigantic amount of sustained fire that you get. So as far as true damage weapons go, this is probably one of the better ones because you've got a relatively cheap and light ammo source to utilize with this thing should you be playing on survival difficulty, for example. Where's the rest of them? There they are. Thought so. Alright. We done? There's usually 3 in there. One of them must have escaped or jumped ship before I was able to get him, but yeah, okay. So it looks like rate of fire is going to be reigning supreme when it comes to true damage weaponry, although I did jack up this thing's receivers and everything, rate of fire up to 100%, but we're on easy street at the moment, and it's going to get even easier as we take on the monsters, because I'm pretty sure you can just one-shot them with the true damage mod if you use a critical in VAFs. We'll see. Okay, so what we'll be doing, instead of fighting the Swan and one-shotting him, what I'll do instead is I'll take on all of these chumps, and maybe we'll finish off with that boss kill over there. But so far so good. Although, whilst I've got a shot, yep, there he goes. One shot in the head will do it. And I don't know, unless you're supposed to think to yourself or just have the head cannon that like all the super mutants have super hardened skeletons that'll stop the 9mm rounds from going straight into their brains and ruining them forever. I don't know, maybe you're supposed to just hand wave that. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but we've got a bunch of more super mutants to kill, and we'll circle around and see what this thing does against bears. There should be a few bears sitting around at this stage. Yep. Gee, they make the bears tough compared to human opponents, that's for sure. But no matter, I still were able to hose them down very easily with our MPX. And now we get to take on more of the mutants. Now, so far they haven't spotted me, which is odd. Is there anyone here at all? Well, the brackets are shifting a little bit. Yep, there we are. Oh yeah, these guys mean business. This might be... If these guys are armed with ballistic weapons, I gotta be a little bit careful when it comes to these guys. I think by their design, the monster mods are a little bit, I guess, incompatible. Okay. Well, now that we've just established that I'm back into sneakiness, I suppose I'll just continue. Yeah, these guys survive headshots, whereas the big behemoths, they cannot, although I did use a critical there, and that usually gets the job done nice and easy. May as well utilize VAFs at the moment. A critical here does us pretty well. It's odd because sometimes true damage just makes things far too easy. But unless you're getting surrounded with 20 angry gunner mercs all gunning you down with assault rifles that are automatic, maybe VAFs is too much for this as well, because I basically get bullet time, allows me to line up easy headshots. And that guy's got a laser gun, so maybe next time I'll reinstall. I don't think, well, honestly, I don't think the damage numbers mod is going to be doing us much justice when it comes to utilizing, at least for consistency's sake, utilizing weapons with true damage, because you saw on the weapon card there's really nothing to write home about under normal circumstances. You hate to see what happens to you when you get hit in the face by a board, much less a sledgehammer. Just think about how hard they would hit you with a sledgehammer if a super mutant did that to you in real life. It'd probably kill you. If they hit you in the head, that's you dead. Easy. Anyways, there's a centaur over there. We'll take him out. And yeah, this is probably one of the better guns. I'm thinking what I might want to utilize is next time I use whatever revolver mod, which are usually very lackluster. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of super mutants. Cleaned them up really easily there. Perhaps a little bit overpowered, but what can you do, eh? We've gotten through this fight pretty easily, and I think at this point, you get the point. So that there was the SIG Sauer MPX with its armory projects, 2 of them in fact, all on the one page for some reason, and it kicks a lot of ass should you set it up in the right way. And yeah, this is probably like one of the more stronger submachine gun mods you'll find out there, but maybe I'll explore the true damage mod with more submachine guns at some point to see just how crazy they are, because you can't really doubt this is realistic damage, but, or maybe it is. I'm not a ballistics expert. I'm a roofer. I'm a roof plumber, but, you know, just logically thinking, I've seen what metal does to you at low velocity. You cut my hands on flashings. I can't imagine a lead bullet doing a lot of good when it goes straight through you. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's any more overlap when there's overpowered submachine guns with a high rate of fire and weapons like that. But any of the real drawbacks of a submachine gun, like lessened range and less accuracy over range and less stopping power, there's none of that. So it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues if we look at other submachine guns. But I think that's it. If you are interested in this weapon mod, check out the download section. I'll put a mod link down there for the Armory Project. I think it's only available on the PCs, but honestly, this SIG MPX has been out since 2018, so I'd expect it to be on consoles. But if you are not a fan of this true damage mod, I think you'll find that it's a perfectly reasonable and powerful weapon to use anyway. Highly recommend it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Also, Ella's a follower. She'll look a little bit different if you download her, but you know, you can have her as a follower. She's pretty good. She's handy with a rifle. There's a person up there. Who's that? Can I go into first person, please? Take that, tree. It's a legendary enemy. Yeah, you wouldn't expect a submachine gun to be hitting this reliably, even with my half-assed aim from this range. So, there you go. Perhaps overpowered, but you get the idea. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you this next time. Later. We'll see.